Hi everybody, welcome to the recap video for this week in Stats 220. What I thought I'd do with this week is go over the group problem. So let's get right to it. Here it is. Can a mother predict the sex of her unborn baby? A study from the University of Arizona sought to answer this question. Researchers want to study pregnant women who had not medically learned the sex of their baby to predict the baby's sex. For each statement, it asks you to choose the best answer. So let's go through statement 1. How many women should the researchers study to have at least 80% power at the 5% significance level so that their study will be able to detect if at least 85% of the women are able to intuit the sex of their babies? Well, what's the null hypothesis here? The null hypothesis is that H0, that P is equal to 0.5, or 50% of the women can intuit the sex of their baby. The alternative hypothesis is that P is greater than or equal to 0.5. Why is that the case? Well, it says to be able to detect if at least, so this corresponds to at least 65% of the women, etc. So it's asking you to calculate the power for H0, again P equal to 0.5, and an alternative of P equal to 0.65, but for a one-sided test. One-sided. And it actually asks you to have at least 80% power. Okay, so let's go to the app and do that. So we set this to 0.5. We set this equal to 0.65 here. And then the alternative hypothesis is that P is greater than P0. And then we lower the sample size until we hit 80. So the answer here is 67. It could have easily just been 68, but the choices here are 67, so that's the closest one. Okay, let's go to the second statement. If the researchers decrease the type 1 error rate of the study described in the first part, would the number of women required in order for the study to have 80% power increase or decrease? Well, if you can go right to the app and see if it will increase or decrease. So let's decrease the type 1 error rate. So let's say to 0.025, and the power goes down. Now how about statement 3? Statement 3, if the researchers decided that they wanted their study to be able to detect if at least 70% of women could intuit the sex at the 5% significance level, but could only study 50 women, then the study would have at least 80% power. Is that true or false? Well, we can go to the app again and investigate. So if we change this to 70%, there we go, but could only study 50 women, and it was still at the 0.05 level, then the power is 0.897. In general, how can we increase power? So, how can power be increased? One thing we can do is increase alpha, the type 1 error rate. Two is increase the sample size. Number 3, choose an alternative value farther away from the null hypothesis value. And then the fourth thing is decrease the standard deviation. Although in practice this is very difficult to do. So really 1 through 3 are the most practical ways to increase power. That's it for this week in Stats 220, and I'll see you next week online.